Hi, my name is Heather, and I would like to chronicle my journey for my upcoming discectomy, which I'm going to have tomorrow morning. I'm feeling a little anxious. This is my first surgery. I've had chronic pain since I was probably 24. I actually have two extruding disc herniations. One is L5, S1, or that's actually C5, C6, and then I have another one, L5, S1. So my surgery tomorrow is going to be on the L5, S1 disc, and according to my MRI, it's a pretty big disc herniation. It looks like it's about 19 millimeters out. And in looking at the write-up from my surgeon, I love the word that he uses, which is obliterating. It is obliterating my S1 nerve root. So for those of you that are going through chronic pain or are trying to make decisions about surgery, I know that when I started this process, it was really helpful for me to kind of see some other YouTube videos and hear what other people experienced. So I hope that tomorrow I'll be able to provide maybe a different update as far as how I'm feeling, but I thought it was important to also document how I felt at this very moment so that I could also remember the type of pain that I was having. But before I do that, I thought I would visually try to explain the disc herniations for those of you that are not familiar, and maybe if you can see it. So this is my spinal column. Here is my L5, here is my S1, and this little bad boy right here is my extruded disc. So what's kind of neat, you can see this one up here, L4, see how it's bulging a little bit? It's just kind of rounded out, and so it's pressing. This, by the way, this is your nerve root. And so this is bulging on it, whereas you can see how this looks like it's bulging out a little bit more. Now, the second picture is a little bit more telling. And so this, with the scribble from my doctor trying to give me some more visuals, he was basically trying to show me here that this whole black piece is actually the piece that is extruded. And you can see my nerve root a little bit more. See how it's not this like nice firm column of whiteness, but it's you can see where it's impinged there. Now, when you do an MRI, you have a couple different views. The next view is actually probably the best, well, the next two. So this is basically, I know it's really beautiful to see what this is probably depicting, but assume I'm laying down and you cut my body in half, and so you're really looking up from me. This right here is the disc, and so your disc has got this, it's called this annulus. So I'm not sure exactly what it's made up from because I'm not a doctor, but it's got a kind of hard outside shell, which is the annulus. And what happens is there's several layers of that. I think there's like 3. And so when it is bulging, it's basically pushing through those layers. And then when it like actually herniates, what happens is that last layer of the annule, I think it's like an annular tear, it actually breaks open, and then the disc, they kind of call it, oozes out. So it oozes out, and then that's what actually sits on your nerve. So this is basically showing how this is the disc kind of up, and he has right here where he's he's actually this is the disc, sorry, and he's kind of circling. Well, this is the area that's kind of extracting out. This, however, is probably the best picture because you can actually visually see here. This is my disc right here. This is the extracted piece right here. These are my nerve roots, and so you can see right here how it's pretty open, and this one is entirely shut off. Like you can't even, there's nothing over here. So that is where the obliteration occurs. And so what happens is what they will do is they're gonna cut me open, which sounds awesome, can't wait. They're gonna do that, and then they're gonna basically shave off the piece of the disc that is sitting on my S1 nerve root. So I've never been through surgery before, so this is somewhat anxious for me. But what I'm feeling right now is quite a bit of pain. I have been since probably May. My back went out probably about 6 years ago. It took me about 6 months the first time to do rehabilitation, and that actually worked really, really well. At that point in time, it was like I had the whole sciatic nerve, my leg, had the foot drop, my leg was numb. I was really scared to death, actually. But by changing my lifestyle, I had to change the way I work out. I work out every day. So not being, able to be physical has actually been very difficult for me. I wasn't able to pick up my son. I had to just change simple things, but it took about 6 months, maybe a full year to kind of get back into it. But then I really didn't have a whole lot of pain, and I did epidurals. Epidurals worked really, really good for me. My chronic pain is actually my neck, and that's a whole different procedure, which I really don't even want to have done because they have to go through the front of your neck. So in looking at some alternate methods of therapy, because I really didn't want to take any more medicine, my husband recommended a myofascial release massage. And as part of that process, which is really just stretching of limbs and not even really deep tissue, but just kind of pressing a little bit, it actually invoked an inflammation in my lower disc. And so since January of this year, and we are in 2016, my disc, I had the whole sciatic thing go again. I had 2 epidurals within a couple months. Didn't really get a whole lot of relief. And at that point, it was like I couldn't put my socks and shoes on without just being in tears. It was miserable. But it was really in the morning. I didn't, once I kind of got my day started and I worked out and got my muscles moving, it didn't feel that bad. And then in May, out of nowhere, I woke up one day and I was in the emergency room. And so they had rushed me and I had to do like an emergency epidural. And they did an MRI, and that's, what I just showed you, the most recent one. And by that evening, I had a different kind of pain. It was something I'd never felt before in my entire life, and it was all nerve pain, which really scared me because I couldn't put any pressure on my foot at all. It felt like my whole leg was on fire. The only thing I can describe it, not that I've ever had this before, but when I read up on like neuropathy, my grandfather's got diabetic neuropathy, and what he describes as pins and needles all the time, and just burning and numbness on my left side of my calf. So mine is in my left leg, or it herniates on the left side of my body. And so I had numbness, burning, and then I had my foot was just numb. I could not walk for about 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. Couldn't really touch my foot or my leg. It hurt so badly just to even have anything touch it. Probably the most miserable pain I've ever been in my entire life. So I wasn't really able to sit or stand, and then so since May, we are now in August, so I'm going to have my surgery on August 25th, and I have not really been able to regain a whole lot of my life back. The pain from the neuropathy went away where I could start walking, or at least touching it again. At one point I couldn't even put lotion on my foot. It hurt so bad. The numbness has always been there. That's never gone away. So, and it's really scary, for me to not feel like you have total feeling in your body. I touch the calf, and it's really the outside of my calf. So I did some research as well, and depending on where you have your pain is actually indicative of which disc is kind of where it's sitting. So if you have your disc is sitting on the S1 nerve root, which is your sciatic one, then it's most, it's going to be the back of your leg. It's typically the outside of your thigh and the bottom of your foot. If you start having more pain, I think on the top of your foot, or other places on your leg, then that could maybe be L5 pain. So and it's really important. So, you know, the different types of therapies that they recommend are different based on the disc, so make sure you research that. So in the last week, it's gotten actually much worse, where for a minute, and when I say a minute, I feel like maybe 2 to 3 weeks, I felt like I got a little bit more relief. I could stand, right? Sitting became like almost unbearable. And it would lock my body up a little bit. You know, I sat for maybe 20, 30 minutes, and I sit for my job, so that's not good either. But it's like my muscles would, I know this is not the correct term, but like atrophy or something. And as soon as I would try to get up, it was miserable. So in the last week, I don't know what the change was, but all of a sudden, I was at work just having conversations, and then out of nowhere, I didn't bend, I didn't twist, I didn't do anything. I got shooting of pain, and it almost doubled me over, because it was, the sciatic pain can almost be shooting, you know, whereas this, it was almost like just a shock, like my whole leg was just on fire. And so that happens now if I stand for a couple minutes. If I walk for I'm saying like a few steps, I get that. I can sit a little bit better now, but I still get the same pain if I sit for very, you know, long periods of time, or if I try to stand up, and I try to put pressure on my leg, I get that automatic burning. So it's been a very, very long road. You know, I've been just miserable, not really sleeping very well. Definitely not sleeping for probably about a month. And so I am somewhat anxious for the surgery. However, I am really looking forward to just feeling like I can be a normal person again. So I wanted to do this mainly for myself, so I could remember the type of pain I was in, and try to document my progress, just to make sure I was making progress. I'm told that for this kind of pain, because it's nerve, I should feel some immediate relief as soon as I wake up. I might have some residual nerve pain. I have heard that that's common, just because, you know, my disc has been compressing for, you know, 7, 8 months on the nerve root. So, but if I can at least walk, you know, again without, you know, it kind of doubling me over, or, you know, it's just it's tiring to do anything. My back just gets tired. I can't bend over. I can't, you know, do walking. I can't do any exercising. The recovery is supposed to be approximately 4 to 6 weeks. That's according to my doctor's orders, right? Technically it's 6 weeks. We're negotiating that right now, though. I did buy a sit-to-stand desk for my home office, and so I was told that, you know, I can either lay down or I can stand up, and then I have to do a lot of walking. So you're supposed to walk for, I mean, I think like 10, 30 minutes every, you know, hour, ever so often, just to kind of get the fluid in your body. I guess that's what helps heal the disc. And so, but I know I'm going to be anxious and want to get back to work so I can work from home. So I'm trying to negotiate that with my doctor right now, so it's not a full 4 to 6 weeks, because that sounds crazy. But I think that's really about it for right now. Anyone else out there that has this kind of pain, I feel for you. I empathize, and hopefully I will have a good story to tell and share, because I know surgery is scary. This kind of pain is scary, and not knowing whether it's going to work is also scary. But at some point, there's only so much you can stand as an individual, and you have to actually take the next step before there's permanent damage to your body. So I will be posting again and letting everybody know how the surgery went, and then how my recovery goes. So until then, cheers.